This week on Hooligan Nation. Well, we've been here before, but is this Kiss's return to what the fan base wanted? Is this the return of our demon from his movie star pipe dream? Can Bob Ezrin come in and organize and supervise KISS after the dysfunction of Hot in the Shade? Coming up, does KISS get their revenge? Stay tuned, because
Nothing to lose.
you got,
Nothing to lose.
you got nothing.
You wanted the best? Well, they retired. So you got two dudes in a garage.
Talking KISS. Welcome back to Hooligan Nation. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Rocco.
He is him. Thank God. Thank God we get revenge on Hot in the Shade this week.
Amen to that.
Thank God. I've been waiting all week to use that one. We get to take revenge on Hot in the Shade. But before we do that, let's recap the last episode. You got anything that you want to add to Hot in the Shade?
I'm getting out of the shade. I'm getting some revenge. No, I think it all was summed up in that episode. I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I don't have much to say about Hot in the Shade. Other
There's some
than
good. There's some good and there's some bad. There's definitely some bad.
You got any news?
I do. This news is about legendary frontman from the New York Dolls passed away, David Johansen, dead at 75. He had a long battle with brain cancer, stage 4. He basically was bedridden for the last couple of years. He pretty much needed round the clock care. And his daughter Leigh said he died of natural causes. When he actually passed away. But the New York Dolls are legendary. Probably like the first big time punk band that was out there. And David Johansen was very outrageous. He did some crazy stuff. Again, New York Dolls. There is a connection with KISS. They did makeup too, and was back at that time. So yeah, he passed away at 75.
The only thing I'd like to add to David Johansen is Buster Poindexter.
Buster Poindexter, yeah.
His Buster Poindexter persona was probably more popular to the masses than the New York Dolls ever were. Look, I can tell you right now, I don't think I've ever heard a New York Dolls song.
No, but you've heard them mentioned a lot.
No, I've heard them mentioned, and especially in the realm of KISS. I mean, if you look at the early photos of KISS, they started out trying to be a version of the New York Dolls.
Yeah.
And Gene has said,
very true.
Gene, I think specifically has said it just didn't work for them because they were too big. They look like linebackers in dresses, where the New York Dolls, it was more androgynous. I don't know. I guess it looked better. I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't know. I know David Johansen, and I know the New York Dolls for their connection to KISS's history. Somebody should put it in the comments to tell me to shut up, but I'm a child of MTV, and Buster Poindexter's video, whatever it was, hot, was like it was the third video played in the rotation of 3 videos at one point. So
yeah, I just gonna say rest in peace. It sounded like he had a really rough end of life, like the last couple years. So hopefully, he's resting in peace and he's in a better place and he's not in pain, because I guess he was bedridden for like the last couple years of his life. So
music we are listening to.
I have 2. One I know you've heard of before, but I didn't hear about him until recently from a friend of mine. Greta Van Fleet is the name of the band. They're not really a new band; they've been around. But if you're a Led Zeppelin fan, check these guys out. They literally sound like a new album that Zeppelin would have come out with. I like Highway Tune, Safari Song, Black Smoke Rising. I mean, they're a carbon copy, and they sound fantastic. I used to like the band Kingdom Come back in the day, and to me, they're even more of an authentic version of not authentic, but like another really good version of Led Zeppelin. They're very good. And the second band that I'm listening to, again, their band has been around. I've never heard of them until recently, and I really like them. They're called Volbeat, Volbeat. Very unique sound to me. The song Lola Montez is really good, and Still Counting. Still Counting is pretty interesting because it starts out kind of poppy. It's like a popsy sound in the very beginning, and then boom, it goes into like Metallica, like a Metallica sound. So they got a unique sound to them, and I'm just starting to dive into their catalog, and I'm really enjoying it so far.
Yeah,
Volbeat.
I'm not a big fan of Volbeat. Greta Van Fleet. Look, I'm not a big fan of Led Zeppelin, but I like Greta Van Fleet. They got some good hooky, catchy songs, and I like anything that's going to keep the music of my childhood alive. If Greta Van Fleet can help keep Kiss alive, I'm good. I'll support them in any way that I can because of that. And
Okay.
I'm tired of today's pop and hip hop because I think it's garbage personally. The world can do without Drake and Kendrick
Yeah.
Lamar.
Yeah. Not really my thing.
Yeah. My music
Yes.
I'm listening to, I am going to blow everybody's mind with a new musical performer. I'd like to introduce you all to Aldo Nova.
Ooh.
That's music that I've been listening to this week.
You have something new out?
No, because I don't really listen to new music.
Well, so you were fantasizing.
Yeah,
Okay.
subject is like artwork to me. That Aldo Nova record is like artwork.
I've always loved that album.
And I even like, and this will come as a shock to just about everyone, I like what pretty much is his last record, Twitch, which was very much in the kind of hair metal genre at the time. Pretty much bailed out of the business, and he actually became, I believe he was Celine Dion's principal songwriter
Hmm. It's
for
interesting.
like 30 years. But if you don't know it, well, if you don't know who Aldo Nova is, welcome to the Hooligan Nation podcast. And
Not alone.
if you're not familiar with Aldo Nova, check out Aldo Nova. Check out Subject is probably his best album. And
I
I
got
believe he's got 3 albums out. I believe he released 3 albums. All 3 of them, in my opinion, are pretty good. Here we go. Here we go, kids. Here's the build-up. We are now in the world of Kiss Revenge. Is everybody ready? Revenge was released May 19th, 1992. It was recorded at Rambo's cousin, Rumbo Studio. Track record, North Hollywood, Cornerstone, blah, 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 blah. Chatsworth, Ocean Way, Hollywood, Acme Recording, Sherman Oaks. It was recorded like in 100 different places for whatever reason. It's 48 minutes and 51 seconds long. It was released by Mercury Records, and the genius that is Bob Ezrin produced the record. I'm sure we'll get into that. There were a whole lot of singles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 singles released for this record. God Gave Rock and Roll to You Too, Unholy, Domino, I Just Wanna, and Every Time I Look at You. There were also 5 videos released. I believe each of these singles got videos, and the videos are very good videos. The God Gave Rock and Roll to You was released for a movie soundtrack. I believe it was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and then they put it on the Revenge record. But really, the first single from the Revenge record was Unholy, and it was the return of the demon, completely and totally. It was the return of the demon visually. It was the return of the demon musically. He was back, and thank God. As far as the cover goes, I could not find any information out on the cover. The cover, I think it's a cool cover. I think it was probably a different era. I would dislike the cover, but because they were coming out of the glam metal, pop metal, whatever, we'll never figure out what exactly it is. I thought the Revenge cover was pretty on point. Says what it has to say. On the back cover, there is a picture of the band, and I don't know about anybody else, but first thing that jumped out of me is, holy shit, there's a guy with blonde hair. I mean, seriously, like Eric Singer was the first non-black hair member of KISS.
Hmm.
It's
That's a good
pretty
point.
historical
That
in
is,
some
yeah,
way.
that's interesting. Yeah.
And then they're all in black leather trench coats. And we are back to the harder, more street version of KISS. And it's very obvious before you even put the record on. And then you put the record on and you go, holy shit, yep, they are back. The record went gold in the United States. As far as personnel, I'll never understand why, but once we get Paul and Gene on this show and we get to ask them questions, we will get answers to this. Never gonna happen. Additional personnel, Kevin Valentine played drums on Take It Off. Dick Wagner played the guitar solo on Every Time I Look at You. Tommy Thayer, Jesse Damon, Jamie St. James all provide backing vocals. Tommy Thayer and Jamie St. James are of Black and Blue. Dick Wagner was a session guitar player that played with Lou Reed and Alice Cooper. He was on Destroyer, I believe. He added guitars to Destroyer, and Kevin Valentine played most of the drums on Psycho Circus. Hey, let me ask you a question.
What do you got?
Do you YouTube?
I'm always on YouTube.
When you YouTube, how do you support the YouTubers that you like?
If I find something I dig, I subscribe to it and I hit like right away.
That's a great idea. I'm sure the creators appreciate your support.
I would think so.
You think maybe now's a good time to ask everyone in the audience to support us?
Absolutely.
To everyone in the audience, please subscribe to our little channel. And while you're there, hit the like button.
We're enjoying what we're doing and we want to continue to grow the hooligan community.
We appreciate all your support.
Absolutely.
Ready to rock and roll?
Hit it, Curly!
All right. So the first song is Unholy. Gene does the vocals and writes the song with Vinnie Vincent. It has a staticky intro that I think is pretty cool. It's got a really cool riff. And I'm definitely getting kind of a God of Thunder type of vibe on this song. Like I said, I like the riff, and I do like the backdrop, the riff that's the backdrop of the song. And I definitely get the God of Thunder Gene vibe on this song big time.
Yeah, what I like about this song is it's evil from start to finish. You put this CD on at the time, and within 15 seconds, you go, oh my God, the demon is back. And KISS is back. And at least for me, I was convinced that this was going to be Creatures of the Night sequel. It wasn't, but boy, it does beat the hell out of Hot in the Shade.
That's actually a really good take for the first song on this because you definitely get that vibe after listening to that.
Yeah, and once you go to like song 2, you go, okay, this is different.
Yeah.
Than Creatures of the Night. With that being said, I still think it's a good album and a return to the quote unquote KISS sound that I think most fans appreciate the most. And I just can't not say this. It is another great album opener.
I knew you were going there.
It just, I mean, they're the kings of the album opener.
Yeah, I think we bring Victor back and do album openers.
It just it just sets the scene for the entire album to me, and there's no other song on this album that would have been a better album opener than Unholy.
No, I agree. That's a very good take.
So, another good job by KISS with the album openers.
All right. And that brings you to song number 2, Take It Off. Paul does the vocals, Bob Ezrin and Kane Roberts do the writing. Kane Roberts is an American rock guitarist and singer, best known for he was the former lead guitarist of Alice Cooper.
Oh, I loved King Roberts when he was in Alice Cooper's band.
If you don't remember him and you're definitely an 80s child, you'll remember him if you think about this guy with this big freaking arms playing guitar. He was like a bodybuilder.
I will most definitely put a video or a picture up of Kane Roberts for whoever doesn't know who he was, because Kane Roberts just toured with Alice Cooper maybe a year and a half ago. Nita Strauss had something else that she was doing, and Kane Roberts replaced her for, I don't know, a month-long tour, and he's normal size now, but Kane Roberts in the '80s was a dead giveaway for Rambo.
Yeah.
He was
That's a
dead giveaway,
embarrassing.
and so much so he had a gun guitar that looked like a AR-15. Now to take it off.
My take on it is I dig the intro build up to it. It's a catchy tune, but I got it as middle of the road.
I love it. And one of the reasons why I love it is because Paul finally found that happy medium where he can be who he wants without the glam pop sound. I thought it was a return to the animalized, lick it up, creatures of the night Paul Stanley. And I think that was a good thing for the band. Out of everybody, and everybody went glam pop metal in the band, but I think Paul was leading the way, and I think they just got to the point where they thought, "Wow, this isn't working anymore."
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I thought it was a catchy tune, but I just wasn't feeling it as much.
Yeah, well, we can't agree on everything.
No, that's true.
We may not agree on a lot of songs on this record because I really like this record.
So the next song is Tough Love. Paul does the vocals. Bruce Kulick and Bob Ezrin do the writing with him. I have a cool vibe vocally from Paul, and I really, really like the bridge of this song.
I think it's another good song. I love the chorus. It's the tougher, meaner, edgier Paul Stanley. I like it. Period. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I just like it because Paul is out of his all night persona, and he's back into maybe his love gun creatures of the night
That
persona.
that being said, though, you like this better than All Night? This song?
No, I guess I would probably rate them somewhere around even, but I
Because I
like
don't dislike the song. I like the song, but I if I had to choose between the two, I like All Night a little better.
I just like the heavier, edgier version of Paul Stanley.
All right, so that'll bring us to the next song, Spit. Gene does the vocals, Scott Van Zen and Paul Stanley help him with the writing. Scott Van Zen is a guitarist, songwriter. He toured with Bad Company, has over 1,000 songs placed on films, TV, and commercials, everything from the Green Hornet and Cars to McDonald's. He is a top of the list session player also. The song itself, I got it as a very cheesy song. I like the switch. I've always liked songs when Gene and Paul are both switching off and on. So I definitely have to like it for that perspective. And it's got a decent groove, but it's definitely kind of cheesy to me though.
So Spit, nope, not my thing. Hate it. Hate just about everything about this song, except when Paul adds the vocals and they switch back and forth.
Yeah.
Because I'm the same as him, unfortunately, and I think that is always the best songs when
Yeah,
they do that.
Here's a good question for you. Do you think they realized how good a blend that is when they switch back and forth?
I'm guessing that they didn't because they did it a lot more in the beginning than they ever did, let's
Yeah.
say started getting away from that around Destroyer. And
Yeah, and I would say that's a tool in their tool belt that they could have utilized more. That brings you to um, God Gave Rock and Roll to You. Paul does the vocals. Russ Ballard, Gene Simmons, and Gene and Bob Ezrin do the writing with him. Russ Ballard is an English singer and guitarist, songwriter, and producer. There's what can you say about this? I love the messaging on it.
did you just say that? You said, "What can I say about this?"
Yeah, that's
And
kind of like my intro to tell you what I'm going to say about
and
it.
in my notes I have, "What can I say that hasn't been said?"
Oh wow, Jesus Christ! Great minds think alike. Um, I with this song, the one statement that I underlined of what I wrote also is I put you take the song for what it is. It's an anthem. You know what I mean? It's great messaging. It's all about the message of the song for me. I love the anthem. I love the tribute to what the band is. It's a celebration. And one thing that I always go back to that I've never said, Kiss is an ambassador for the rock and roll lifestyle. They're the ambassadors to me.
Yeah,
They set the bar of every aspect of being a rock and roll star.
I would agree with that. I
Um,
think this is a perfect Kiss song. I do. I think it's a perfect Kiss song.
yeah.
I think it's a perfect Kiss song because it's an anthem.
But you know what else I like about this too? Again, with the messaging, I don't want to stop your thought, but what I like about this is if you want to be a rock star, you have to work hard at it. You can have the life, but you got to work for it. Like the messaging is fantastic in this song.
What you're saying is the guy who wrote the lyrics to Bang Bang You also wrote the lyrics to God Gave Rock and Roll to You.
Well, it was a joint effort, but yeah,
So we went from Bang Bang You, I'll shoot you with my love gun, baby, to if you want to be a rock star, you got to work hard for it.
well, then you can put what's the let's put the X and sex. What's the other song?
Oh my God.
You make me rock hard.
You could do this for days. I
Uh,
like everything about God Gave Rock and Roll to You.
Me too.
I'm gonna put the video. I'll put a video clip up for God Gave Rock and Roll to You up here because I kind of want it to stand out a little bit because I think one of the reasons why, at least for me, I mean, I hate to speak for the entire Kiss Army and the entire Hooligan Nation, but this is a very important piece of history because it is the last time that we see Eric Carr. And there's a few stories that go along with it, and I'm not going to get into every story, but to shorten it up, this was not Kiss. This was Eric Carr, as the story goes. They were going to make the video of it, and they were going to put Eric Singer in the video. And Eric Carr, by all accounts, begged to be in the video, and he was not in the right physical condition to be in that video. But the way I heard it, it was like a 16-hour video shoot. He sucked it up all day long. He had to wear a wig. He was bald from chemotherapy. And he was dead set on being in this video. I just watched it for like the fourth time. I just watched an interview with Michael James Jackson where he made the statement that he never came across a member of KISS that was prouder to be a member of KISS than Eric Carr was. Now,
Wow.
that's a pretty strong statement.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, for all of those people out there that have never heard an interview with Michael James Jackson, he doesn't do very many of them. Well, he didn't. He's dead now, unfortunately.
COVID, right?
COVID got him. But He never did a lot of interviews about Kiss. I don't know why. He doesn't really explain why, but he is a very middle of the road, pragmatic guy. He does not have a lot of bad things to say about anyone, but he doesn't have a lot of bad things to say about Paul and Gene. And I don't think this is saying a bad thing about Paul and Gene, but it's a pretty strong statement. To me, it's a very historical moment in history.
His album was dedicated to him, so I'm glad you actually made that point.
Well, that's what I'm here for. Can I get a raise?
No. The next one is Domino, written by Gene and sang by Gene. This is my favorite on the album. I always love this song. It's got a killer Bruce solo in it, guitar solo, cool guitars throughout the song. It's a very in my opinion, well produced and well put together song. Blend of vocals are awesome, and I like how the vocals are kind of playing tag with the guitar throughout the song. And I also love the pause in the middle of the song. There's a certain point where there's like a little of a pause and a little cool riff, and then it goes back into it again. I the whole production value and the whole song, I like everything about it.
For everybody that doesn't know this, I'm a musical tart. I like music. I
It's a good
can't.
name. It's a good name for a band.
Musical tart. I can't play an instrument to save my life. I know nothing about music other than I either like it or don't like it. The only reason why I bring this up is because I have a question for you. Is it me, or is Domino the same song structure as Spit, except what doesn't work for Spit works perfectly for Domino?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to listen to both of them again. But you got me curious because again, Domino, I love everything about it. And Spit, I'm not a fan.
I connected the dots immediately from Spit to Domino and said, "Holy shit, what doesn't work for song A sure as hell worked for song B." Now,
So now you're giving me homework.
sorry. Sorry. Anybody else out there in Hooligan Nation land, if you agree with me, put it in the comments below. If you think I'm crazy, you're probably right. I think it's the same song structure. Look, with that being said, it's got great vocals, it's got great music, and I just think it's a great, great Kiss song. And I'm gonna say this over and over. Now I might be done now, but
Would you say it's a good stage song too?
it was a good stage song, yeah. But so was Unholy. I mean,
True.
this was a record, you know, there's so many parallels. Not not m maybe not musically, but there's so many parallels between Creatures of the Night and Revenge because of where they were. They had dug themselves in such a hole with Asylum, Crazy Nights, and Hot in the Shade with I think a large portion of the fan base that they needed an album to dig themselves out. And anybody who doesn't see the writing on the wall with bringing Gene back and the demon persona and the angry lyrics and the Unholy and Domino and things like that. Look, it's well known that was a concerted effort. There are interviews out there with their manager at the time, Larry Mazer. Larry Mazer is a great interview, by the way. That was a concerted effort, according to him, to push Gene out in front a little more to get that harder sound. And especially with Unholy and Domino, boy, they hit home runs to me.
Well, I think remember I told you like early on before we did the episode earlier in the day today, I told you that I was a little bit kind of disappointed and I expected more from Revenge than going through it. And I said, but I want to go through this more to really kind of think about it. And the only difference I see, there's some songs that are on the same level, in my opinion, as Creatures, but I don't think it's as complete an album as Creatures.
It's not.
It's a good album though.
If you put it in the timeline, it's a great album.
Well, yeah, you're right that they needed to prove something again. You're definitely right about that.
Unfortunately, and look, this is unfortunate. is unfortunately the studio album that follows this. Why they had to go off the deep end and change the sound again, I will never know. At least with Creatures of the Night, they followed it up with Lick It Up and Animalize. And then they started to go chase fads. This one, like, I don't know whether it was the lack of sales and it didn't go platinum, it went gold. I don't know what it was, but
Did
I
did
think
there,
I think Revenge, Creatures of the Night, Rock and Roll Over, Destroyer, and so on back. I think that's the sound of Kiss that most fans were looking for. I think when you produce a dynasty, they go, "Oh, that's cute. I can pick through some songs and it's okay." And then you go to Unmasked, and then you go to The Elder, they go, "Holy shit, my hair's on fire, I gotta jump off the top of the building." And then the same thing when you go from Asylum to Crazy Nights to Hot in the Shade, the Hot in the Shade is a catastrophe upon itself. It can't be compared to anything else. But when you go from Revenge, and it was like 5 years later, but when you go from Revenge to Carnival of Souls, if you're a fan of Carnival of Souls, good for you, but you can't deny the fact that Revenge and Carnival of Souls don't have anything to do with each other. These are questions that either Gene and Paul don't want to answer, or the people that are interviewing them just for whatever reason don't want to ask. I could interview Gene and Paul for 2 hours and never ask them a question about Ace or Peter, never ask them a question about women, never ask them a question about taking off the makeup. I could spend 2 hours just asking questions about the sound change. Like, "Hey, what were you guys thinking?"
mm,
You 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 had to know. I was there. Like, I was at Brendan Byrne Arena in New Jersey for the Revenge tour. People went crazy. It was Kiss's return to being hard rock and heavy metal. They were in black leather and shiny studs, and Gene had a goatee, and I didn't really care about any of that, but a lot of people did. Like, Gene looked evil again. He had an entire mop of hair. You could tell he was not trying to be an actor anymore. Like, they were back on their game. And then you follow that up with a grunge record.
all right, so that brings us to the next song, Heart of Chrome. Paul does the vocals, Vinnie Vincent is with him, and Bob Ezrin does the writing. The three of them do the writing. I dig Paul's vocals, good harmonies from the bridge into the chorus. I don't like the transitions at the 3-minute mark. It should be a shorter song. If it had a tighter time and it wasn't as long and drawn out, I would like the song a lot more because there's a lot to like about the song, in my opinion. But I think right around the 3-minute mark, they transition and it's horrible. I don't see a reason for it. Remember how I got what was that song that I went nuts about? What the hell was it? Where that the riff? I kept on going crazy about the riff.
Um, I
I
can't remember every time you go nuts,
I
dude.
know. I forget. Anyway, I hate it when a song is got something really good going on, and they're like, "Yeah, that's really good. Let's mess with it." And to me, they messed with the song and they shouldn't have.
That's really what I think about Bob Ezrin. Is Bob Ezrin was the type of guy that was never happy with the status quo. Like,
Mm,
he had the needle and push buttons places. And I think
yeah.
that's the biggest difference between him and Eddie Kramer. Is Eddie Kramer was the type of guy that said, "Okay, let's plug in, let's go." Ezrin wanted different musical tricks.
Sometimes the mad scientist gets a little too mad.
With that being said, look, I'm biased. Heart of Chrome is written after Samantha Fox, so
Oh, I
I
forgot about that.
I feel the need to say that I kinda like it. Look, it's kinda interesting. It's got angry Paul lyrics, which I like.
Yeah.
I like the song. It's a middle of the road song. I mean, if I didn't know that the song was about Samantha Fox, I would probably like it a whole lot less. It's not a terrible song, but we are going down in quality from Unholy. I mean, we're kind of going down in quality at this point.
All right. So that would bring us to "Thou Shalt Not." It's the eighth song. Um, Gene does the vocals and Jesse Damon. Does the writing with him. Jesse Damon is a vocalist and a guitarist. I really didn't find too much on him. So what I have for that is the chorus seems weird to me. I'm not feeling it. It's a decent groove, but I really don't care for the song.
Not bad. It's not bad at all. It's a good song, just not memorable. I love the guitars. And again, I like Evil Gene. But it's just not a memorable song. And you know what? Time has proven it's not a memorable song.
The ninth song on this album, I would consider a guilty pleasure song for me. I love this song. Every Time I Look at You is one that I probably would get criticized, but I love this song. I like it for the type of song that it is. It's really good, a really good power ballad song. I love Paul's voice in this, and to me, it everything fits like a glove in this song.
Take a bow, Kiss. To me, this song rivals Beth. It's the perfect hard rock heavy metal ballad.
You're making me feel better about about what
And
I
there
said.
isn't many of those from that era. Like everybody
Good
talks
point.
and we talk and have talked about the power ballad thing. And what everybody doesn't talk about is the fact that most of those power ballads did not last the test of time. One other one that comes to mind is Poison's Every Rose Has a Thorn. And the other one is Kiss's Every Time I Look at You.
That's actually a really good comparison.
Everybody else, yeah, I don't really think they lasted the test of time. They were hair metal power ballads, and I think Every Time I Look at You stands up.
That will bring us to Paralyzed. Gene does the vocals with Bob Ezrin doing the writing with him. Cool guitar solo, it kicks it off. Then you go to Gene's vocals. Part of the song, I like part of the song actually is has a lot of Dokken flavor in this song to me. Um, I like the different rhythm guitar tone switching. So if you listen to that and you think of dun, 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 there's definitely a little a Dokken flavor in this song for me. Um, so I like the guitaring a lot in this song.
It's not terrible, but not great. I guess it's there. It's just there for me.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, what I get out of it a lot is the guitaring parts in there that I like, the tone switching and stuff. But I wouldn't say it's a song that stands out. Other than that, though, that brings us to "I Just Wanna" with Paul doing the vocals and Vinnie Vincent writes the song with him. Um, the chorus is cool, uh, great tune, very catchy. I like the whole flow of the tone. Cool guitar solo. I actually like the Beatles. They went Beatles all of a sudden. I didn't really dig that part. The transition into like the Beatles sound, I didn't really care for. It was out of nowhere and they didn't need it. So this was one of those where I really liked the song, and then all of a sudden they went into a different direction with the transition and had a. There's no doubt you can't tell me it's not this Beatles sound to me, and I didn't really care for that. Not that I don't like the Beatles, but I didn't feel like that fit the song.
Well, Emily, I'm not a Beatles fan, so I didn't even notice that transition into a Beatles song.
If you listen to that part at that point, you'll know what I mean now.
I love the song. I think it's creatively ingenious. It's a great song live, and Bruce is Bruce. He is him on this song.
When you listen to it again, do me a favor when you listen to it again, it's 2 songs here. If you listen to the first song, in that song, it's killer, great, good on stage. When you get to that point in the song towards the end, well, actually a little bit more than like middle of the road to the end, they start doing ah, da, da. It's just, what are you doing?
They changed the rhythm of the song.
Right. It's like a nice flow. I just wanna, and then all of a sudden it does that, and I'm like,
Well, that goes back to what I said before. Don't I Bob Ezrin, I think is a more hands-on producer that wants to do different things as compared to other producers. And who knows, maybe the song was presented to him like that. In my mind, I'm thinking that the song was presented to him like you would have written it, and he has to Bob Ezrin it. You know, we need something in here
you could at least
to
see why
make
that
it different.
you can at least see why that like, we're on the freeway, I'm doing 70 and I'm cruising, I got and I'm enjoying this, and all of a sudden and I'm really digging the tune, and all of a sudden it goes there, and it's like, "Huh?"
Yeah, like I said, I like it, but again, I'm a musical tart, and you're an actual musician, so
Alright, so the last song is an actual jam and tribute. It's Eric Carr Jam 1981, instrumental. Uh, would I put a word on that? One word on that is, when I think of Eric Carr, I think of talent. I think of not only talent, but I think of untapped potential, because I liked his voice. I would have liked to hear more from him. So I wish he rests in peace. He's always going to be one of my favorite members of the band. Every interview I ever saw with him, he was funny. He had a really cool personality and unique personality. Um, I met him one time at WDHA 105.5, local state radio station, where, close to where we live. I didn't meet him direct, but I was there, and he had an event. This album's tribute is dedicated to him, and he's just, the last track on there is Car Jam 1981. It's like basically the band jamming and him going off on the drums.
are you ready for a tidbit?
Absolutely.
Are you ready for a nugget?
Give me a tidbit and then a nugget. Sure.
Do you know what song this is?
No.
This is Breakout from Ace Frehley's 1987 solo album.
Really?
It's what it is. Look, it doesn't matter. It's a memorial to Eric. And personally, I thought it was tasteful. It's pretty much Breakout with a drum solo. I like it. I thought it was tasteful. I thought it was classy.
And listen, any hooligans out there that have any stories about Eric Carr, have anything you want to say about Eric Carr, feel free to put it in the comments.
Stage show. First thing jumped out. Boom. No introduction. My God. No, you wanted the best. You got the best. No, nothing. I love the stage show, with that being said. The stage with the Statue of Liberty and the street signs and the street lights. I can remember it when we saw them. It was very cool in person. I just watched it on video today. It was very cool. I found it ironic that it took Gene Simmons almost 10 years, but he finally found his non-makeup look. The entire band looked better when they were out of the tranny get-ups and all the women's makeup. How can you forget the teeny weeny bikini twins as stage props during Take It Off? Nice touch. And no lighted KISS sign. There was just kind of a banner that said KISS towards the end of the show. It was very much a different experience. And from what I've heard from Larry Mazer, that's what he was going for, was you guys need to change. There is more than one interview out there of him saying that he told Gene to keep his tongue in his mouth. People were tired of it. And he wanted the big lighted KISS sign to go away because people were tired of it. Now, I disagree. I was not tired of it. And you know when you're not tired of something, when it's not there and you go, hey, wait, where's the KISS sign? I was Not a big fan of no lighted kiss sign during Revenge, but the rest of it I thought was cool. And there was other little things like, speakers laying around. Like they went out of their way to make it an event. At the end of the Revenge concert, there's a pretty extensive fireworks show, probably the most extensive fireworks show I've ever seen for an arena tour. That's all I got for the stage show. It's a good stage show, though. I like the stage.
All right. You want the set list?
I want the set list.
All right. Let's give you the set list from the concert that we were at. October 9th, 1992, Brendan Byrne Arena, East Rutherford, New Jersey. Starts out with Creatures of the Night. Then it goes to Deuce, I Just Wanna, Unholy, Parasite, then Heaven's on Fire, then Christine 16, then Domino, then Watching You, then Hotter Than Hell, Firehouse, I Want You, Drum Solo, Forever, War Machine, Rock and Roll All Night, kind of in the middle, Lick It Up, then Take It Off, then Cold Gin, then Tears Are Falling, then I Love It Loud, Detroit Rock City. Then they come out for an encore with Shout It Out Loud, God Gave Rock and Roll to You, Love Gun, and the Star Spangled Banner. Over 25 songs. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think it's a great set list. I was never a huge fan of Creatures of the Night as a show opener. I think Detroit Rock City is probably the best one. I think
I Stole Your Love is a really good opener. I'm not saying it's
I
not.
think I Stole Your Love is probably the second best show opener. And honestly, I think Psycho Circus is probably the third best.
Opener? Yeah, yeah.
I just think the words to the song.
I say welcome to the show. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I think those kinds of things resonated with KISS. So of course, I think that gets handed down to the fanatical KISS fans that think about these things. So no, it's not my favorite thing in the world. Like they ended this. What did they end with? Love Gun?
Love Gun and then the Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah. I'm no. I don't.
Yeah, I'm
I think you
I'm with
need
there.
I think you need to end with an anthem.
Yeah.
And not
Well,
any old anthem is good enough. I think you end with Rock and Roll All Night. With that being said, hey, you're KISS. If you want to change the set list up for a tour, I think you should be able to do that. I don't
you know what?
I don't feel like anybody owes me anything.
If they wanted to put a period and not do Rock and Roll All Night, you know what they could have done? Instead of Love Gun, they could have finished with God Gave Rock and Roll, because God Gave Rock and Roll was one of the encore songs.
Yeah, I'm okay. I think God Gave Rock and Roll to You should have been an encore song. I don't think it should be the last song. I think that KISS sits down and strategically puts songs in place with a lot of thought. With that being said, you don't end with Love Gun. You have to play Love Gun
Early in the set.
early in the set, middle of the set, late of the set. I don't know. I think Love Gun kind of goes everywhere, but I don't want it to open the show and I don't want it to end the show. And I don't think that Gene and Paul care what I think. To wrap up, do you have anything that you would like to add to KISS getting their revenge?
Revenge is a good album. It's better than I thought from earlier. There's some songs to me that could be better, so it's not as complete as Creatures. The more we do this, the more I'm comparing everything to Creatures because I love the album so much. But yeah, I think Revenge is, I'd say it's up there. It's one of their best albums. Not their best. I'd say it's definitely in the top 10 probably of their albums if I'm gauging it without really diving in and comparing other albums.
I have been preparing myself probably since the first episode to not take into account the band lineup.
It's gonna be hard.
In other words, if Sonic Boom is the best Kiss record to my ears, I'm going to pick Sonic Boom. I promise you, Sonic Boom will
Yeah,
not
I knew that was gonna follow
be
that. I
the
haven't
best.
listened to that yet, but
But if it was to be, I'm fully ready to pick it. Don't know how hard or how easy it's going to be. And that's not the only thing. Like, we've talked about album openers. We just talked again about set list openers. All of this stuff is kind of interesting to me, and hopefully to everybody that watches this, that maybe they don't think about on a regular like occurrence of, hey, what is the best, or what do you feel is the best Kiss record? What do you feel is the best album opener? Look, I've always been that guy. I believe that the album opener is probably the second most important song to an album. And this is me showing my age. The first important song is the first single. If you put a first single out and you swing and miss, you may not get a second single from the
you know,
record company, especially in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But the album opener to the fans, at least to this fan, when I put the CD on or the record on and Unholy comes on, I go, okay.
it's interesting to think of how much the music business has changed, though, because you don't even really think of music from those kind of perspectives anymore.
Fans are gonna complain no matter what. I think we talked about this, like, I don't know, like last week. Fans going crazy because Kiss is trying to sell a $50,000 gold record. Why would you let yourself be bothered by that? Just don't buy it. Just don't buy it. I'm not buying it.
I'm not buying either.
But listen, Hooligan Nation, let me explain something. If one of yous is a multimillionaire and you decided to gift us a $50,000 gold record, I don't think we'd keep it. I don't want it. So if we have any multimillionaire Hooligan Nation fans out there, before you buy us a gold record, just pay for, like, I don't know what it costs us to host the podcast, maybe. I promise you it'll save you a lot of money. But neither one of us have any interest in that. I don't want a $50,000 solid gold record hanging on my wall.
And
I
if I was swimming in money, I still wouldn't want it.
Yeah, if I was a multi-millionaire, like we were just talking before we filmed about how much money Elon Musk is worth. $350 billion, by the way. I want everybody to let that sink in. But if I had $350 billion, I wouldn't buy that gold record because I don't want it. I just think these people throwing fits over it just don't
Petty.
don't bother yourself with it. Like, you don't have to throw a fit over it. The way that you throw a fit over it is you don't buy it. We talk about this all the time. I want a Gene Simmons axe bass. I think I can't play anything. I want a Gene Simmons axe bass. If I got a Gene Simmons axe bass, I'd get a little amp and I'd probably make an ass out of myself for about 5 minutes before I hung it on the wall and just looked at it. But I'm not paying $6,000 for a Gene Simmons axe bass, and I'm not paying $12,000 or $13,000 because Gene played it on stage. I don't care. I don't care. Let me tell you people something. Here's me gonna preach. I'm gonna be Paul Stanley for a minute. People, Gene Simmons puts his pants on one leg at a time, just like you do. Gene Simmons gets sick and has to run sometimes, just like you do. So why do we treat him or them like they're any different? They're not. They have more money. They are famous. Good for them. As the words to the song went, they worked hard to be rock stars. Good for them. Congratulations.
And good for us because we enjoy their music and what they did.
Correct. I'm not trying to be negative of them in any way, but they are the same as the rest of us. Okay? If you sitting at home watching two idiots on a podcast, and we are two idiots, make no mistake about it. But if you were watching us and you were worth $300 million, like it's reported Gene is worth, and you could put out a $50,000 gold record and you thought somebody would buy it, I'm pretty sure you would put it out. And if you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. And I don't want to buy it, so I'm not going to buy it. So I don't care. They can up the price from 50,000 to 500,000. Doesn't make look, if the price of that gold record was 10,000, I still wouldn't buy it. And supposedly it's got $23,000 worth of gold in it. I would make $13,000. I still wouldn't spend the $10,000 on it. It's a principle thing. I'm not buying a $10,000 record. I'm not buying a $50,000 record. No, I'm not doing it. You are free to do it. There's no judgment on you. If you have the $50,000, then and that's your thing, you should buy it. It's just like the collectors that collect costumes and gold records and think, no, I don't. No, I'm not going to run around my house wearing Ace Frehley's 1976 stage costume. My God, I want you to close your eyes and get a mental picture of that. Now, with that being said, I would probably spend a lot of money to get a smoking guitar because I'd probably plug that bitch in and I would probably set all the fire alarms off in the house at least once a day. But that goes back to when I was 9 years old. That's my wrap up. Got anything else?
Nope.
I don't even know how we got here. We got to do this somewhere. So here goes. If you're listening to us on any of the podcast platforms, please leave us a review. And if you just found us, check out our past episodes. If you are watching us on our YouTube channel and you like this episode, please consider hitting the like button and leaving us a comment. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes, and check out these episodes that we're going to have somewhere up here at some point. As always, if you made it this far, thank you for supporting us. And whatever you do, don't forget, don't spit. Oh, no, that's the wrong thing. Don't be unholy. No, no, no. That's the wrong thing. Just take it off? Nope.
Thou shalt not.
If it's too loud, you're too old. Peace out, Hooligan Nation.